If you're a job seeker and you're looking to come into the world of social media, the best advice I can give you is to build your personal brand, right? Because people don't care necessarily what skills you have.
Yep.
If you don't apply those skills to your own personal brand, you'll not be found.
Welcome everyone to the TechGuide podcast, where we give actual advice to those wanting to break into tech or looking for their next gig. We have Dorien Morin-van on the podcast today to talk about social media and content marketing. She has over 13 years of experience and is even a top voice on LinkedIn for social media. Dorien, super excited to have you on today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it as well. You have a ton of experience in public speaking, so I know you're going to be great. Before we dive into all your knowledge on social media, on content marketing, all the good stuff, let's talk about your orange glasses. If you're watching this on video, you guys can see the orange glasses. They're a signature, and they're a nod to your Dutch heritage. Can you kind of explain the orange glasses a little bit more?
Sure. I was born and raised in the Netherlands, which makes me Dutch. And the Dutch people have a king and a queen, and they're from the House of Orange. So even though our flag is red, white, and blue, the Dutch have really kind of embraced the color orange as their national color. So if you ever watch sports, soccer, or the Olympics, you see all the orange fans, they're always Dutch because that's very much a signature color. So when I branded my business, I wanted to make sure that I could stand out online. And hence the orange glasses, they were kind of a joke. The first pair that I wore online was a cardboard pair. And then I proceeded to wear false orange glasses with just plexiglass for 10 years until I needed actual glasses. So it took me a while to get there. These are real.
I love that. I know we're going to learn a lot about social media today, but I was not anticipating learning that fun fact about the Dutch, that it's a nod to the king and queen. That is actually very interesting. I love it. But let's talk about social media and learning a little bit more in social media. You've had, like I said, 13 years of experience in social media. Can you first just lay the groundwork here? Can you tell us how you started your journey into social media? What got you into social media?
Absolutely. It's an interesting story, I think, especially for your audience. It was basically my second act. My youngest, I have 4 children, was starting kindergarten. I was age 40. I had been a stay-at-home mom for 15 years, 4 kids in school, and I went home that first day, dropped off my child. All the other mothers were crying, and I was walking out of that school with this skip. And I was like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? My kids are in school, right? So initially I took a job, which I did not really enjoy. And then when one of my children got sick, it was hard because even though they were in school, I was the primary caregiver for the kids. My husband worked. And so I was like, okay, this is not going to work. So I decided to start my own business. And it was 2011. And it was right around the time that social was really up and coming. People were already on Facebook. And my husband had his own business. And he said to me, can you figure out this tweeter thing? That's literally what he said. So I was like, sure. And then he found an online course on how to be a social media manager. And so I took that course, enjoyed it. And I'm a doer. Okay. I just go out and do things. I immigrated when I was 18, moved here by myself. I had $50 in my pocket and stayed, married my husband very young, stayed, we raised a family. So I was like, I can do this. So I literally put on LinkedIn and said, I'm a social media manager. And lo and behold, a local charity came to me and said, we don't have any social media, but we want to get more local sponsors and donors. Can you help us? And I said, sure, I can. They go, but we can't pay you. I was like, well, how about we barter? So they made me their social media director for 3 years. So I had a title and I did their social media, helped with their fundraising, getting donations. And we grew from a $5,000 a year charity event to a $75,000 a year charity event in 3 years. And a lot of that was social media, reaching out on social. And that's kind of how I got my start locally. I was living in Myrtle Beach at the time. And from there, there's been a lot of different jumps on, learning new skills. But I started out as a social media manager, just hands-on. It was the right time. I'm very, very aware that I was very lucky to jump in at the right time.
A lot of people that say when they start a business or just start a career, honestly, it's a lot of it comes down to luck and timing. And it sounds like that was kind of you had the knowledge and you're the right age to actually be able to conceptualize what social media is compared to someone that's 5 years old or 10 years old, for example.
Yeah.
But I want to hit on a point. So you worked for free for 3 years for them?
for them. It was one of my clients. So by having that part-time, I had the title.
Yeah.
And so I then was able to go out in the community and say to people, hey, do you want to sponsor this event? Do you want to be part of it? But by the way, here are my services, because I was showing my potential clients how social media worked, because I would put them on Facebook. I would tag them. I was basically working with other companies for this charity. And so from that one gig, I got 7, 8, 9, 10 clients over the next 3 years before I moved on and went to clients out of state, which was the next move I made.
Interesting. How did you make that move from having 7 to 8 local clients to moving out of state?
It was meeting somebody who owned an agency in a different state and said, hey, I can use somebody like you. Would you consider white labeling? And I didn't have to look it up. And I was like, sure, I can.
What is white labeling?
So I was like, oh, I always say yes, and then I figure out how to do it. That's a good quality to have as a social media person, because people will ask you all sorts of stuff that is a part of what you're supposed to do. So I said, sure. And so they ended up giving me 2 large B2B clients, which was really nice, because I had really done B2C mostly. Yeah. And so that gave me an opportunity to work with a team, work with web designers, work with a PR person, because the agency had a graphic designer. All of these people were before I was it. And so that really opened my door, but my view and vision of where I could go, because I was getting paid more for each client by the agency than I was charging my own clients. And I know they were taking a cut. So that kind of got my head, everything spinning, going, okay, I can make way more money than I am really making. So that was a jump out of the local to a more, a wider audience. I cast my net wider and I went national.
Yeah. Can you talk about, when it comes to social media, the differences between like a B2C brand compared to like a B2B, just so someone that's like young in their career is like, oh, should I go B2C, business to consumer, or B2B, business to business? Can you talk about some of the similarities and differences?
Sure. And I can tell you B2C is very exciting, because you know very much who you're talking to, and you're actually having conversations with people, right? So say you're a B2C, which would be a restaurant, or a clothing, a fashion brand. Yeah. You're literally talking to the consumer who are buying, who purchasing or thinking about purchasing, who are wearing it. You can get influencers, cool. you get people posting pictures. So that's very exciting. And it's much easier to create, or initially it's much easier to create content for a B2C brand, than it is for B2B. Because even though B2B seems like business to business, it's still business to human, because on the other side of the business is still a human, right? Somebody's writing a check, whoever you're talking to. So you're still, and if you're executing a contract, it's still a person writing their name on the contract, even though you're having a contract with it. So it's a little bit harder. The other thing that I find with B2B is that there are people stuck in the C-suite who some of them are my generation, and I'm happy to say that, in the 50s and 60s, that who really have a hard time visualizing that social media can actually move the needle for them and bring them leads. And so they want to stick to this corporate rigidness. And if you're in a job there, if you're a young person and you're hired in a company for marketing B2B, and you don't have freedom and you can't express your go with your curiosity, and ideas are just put down, you're in the wrong spot, because you as a junior social media person will not be able to move the needle. But if you go into a startup or a company where there's progressive thinking, and they're saying, you're the expert in social media, go do all the things, you're in the right spot. Because even with B2B, you can do all the things as long as you know the voice, know your avatar, know the goals of the business, not just the goals of the marketing team, to know the goals of the business in order to align your strategy. So that's kind of, sometimes people say B2C is sexier than B2B, but B2B can be really fun. So those are kind of differences.
Yeah, I like the point that you hit on that, like, you need buy-in from like your executives or your leadership team if you want to have freedom, one, to do like anything with your job, but like two, when it comes to social media as well, because that's really like the front page of a company is their social media. And so I feel like not having the buy-in from executives would make your job like very, very tough and not very fun.
It's going to make you do nothing. You're basically your curiosity is going to stop. Your ideas are going to stop flowing. You're going to do what everybody else does. They're going to tell you, which they have told me, go look at our competitors, do what they're doing, which makes no sense. You want to look at your competitors to do the opposite of what they're doing. You want to do some of the good things they do, and you want to know what their audience, which is very likely your audience, what they're reacting to, but you want to then take it 10 steps further and make it better. But if you're only looking at your competitors and goes, well, they have this link in bio, we need to have the same, and they're on Pinterest, so we need to be on Pinterest. That's never a good reason. So you need to definitely have an open conversation or be able to access C-suite and say, I have these ideas, let me try things. And if they're not willing to try, you're going to be stuck and you're not going to be able to change that. So I've been lucky as a business owner to choose who I work with.
Yep.
And that's a great part about, owning my own business.
That is one of the best parts about owning your own business. You decide who you work with, when you work, where you work, the big 3 W's, when, who, and where.
Yeah.
But I also want to talk about some, like, you threw out some platforms that are like Pinterest, like TikTok, like YouTube, all of these ones. Let's talk about some like emerging trends that you see with social media and how it's evolving. What are some of like the latest trends you believe like job seekers should be proficient in?
Yeah. So if you're a job seeker and you're looking to come into the world of social media, the best advice I can give you is to build your personal brand, right? Because people don't care necessarily what skills you have. If you don't apply those skills to your own personal brand, you'll not be found. They're going to hire people who have a blog, who have a YouTube channel, who have a TikTok channel. Now, that's the one way to get your foot in the door. To get hired is to also be able to apply those skills to a B2B or a B2C company. So you need to do both, but start with your personal branding and start being out there. People say that all the time. I'm like, be creative with your resume, do an online portfolio, make the TikToks, interview people, start a podcast, any of those things. If you want to have a job as a creator, which is what you do in social media, I'm a content creator, you have to create the content, right? Great writers are great readers. If you want to write a book, you have to read books. If you want to create content, you have to consume content. So that's the first thing I would say. And of course, we already know this. If you're watching anything on social media, vertical video is it, right? It's everywhere. It's not just on TikTok or Instagram Reels, it's YouTube Shorts, it lives on LinkedIn, it can go on Facebook. And it's just very, very interesting because a couple of years ago, vertical video, people were like, oh, it's not here to stay. And it's totally here to stay. And then the other thing I hear all the time, organic social is dead. And I'm an organic specialist and I laugh at that. Content marketing is organic social media. Organic means that you're not putting paid media behind it. A lot of these TikTokers that go viral with 1 million views or 5 million views, they don't put money behind it. That's organic, right? So it's not dead. It's just you have to get good content and you have to be strategic on how you create it, where you create it, how you share it, who you tag, all those things. You have to know all those things. And even then, nothing guarantees you going viral. But what I'm seeing is more and more people starting on one platform, say they're starting on TikTok, having success. Until very recently, and even I think just now, TikTok isn't really paying nearly as much as, for example, YouTube. Last year, it was a big conference. And so the trend at that time was that the TikTokers would then say, hey, I'm going to be on YouTube and take their 4 million followers to YouTube, where they instantly have 4 million followers and now can get paid because YouTube pays really, really well if you're a good content creator. So those are kind of the trends where people are diversifying. And of course, now with, TikTok, the bill being, talked about, will it be banned? You would be silly to have all your eggs in one basket. And the best thing you can do, not just go to YouTube, but start building your email list because you own that. So if you're doing anything else as a personal brand, or if you're a new content creator, start that email list now. You could basically sell them and tell them anything. If you're looking for a job, email your email list. If you're looking for collaborations, email your email list, right? If you're starting a new job and you need to have contacts in the industry, email your email list. There's no reason that you need to be a business to have an email list. You as an individual can have one. And I think that that's another really great thing to start with.
Yeah, I really, really like that because I feel like owning your media, like an email list is like huge, and having like a diversified portfolio when it comes to like the content creation. You could be on TikTok, but you definitely want to build that email news list and also that YouTube. I feel like that really makes you stand out with employers as well. If you can bring that to them, not from a straight business and making money side, but like also like if you are searching for a job, I think that's a great move. I also want to talk about networking and community when it comes to social media. Everyone talks about networking. They're like, oh, networking. Some people are like, no, I'm not going to do it. Some people are like, yes, of course. Where do you fall on networking and like having to find a job in social media?
All right. I'm going to share some secrets with you young people.
Drop the secrets, please.
all of the networking that happens, or most of the networking that happens on social media doesn't happen in the view of anybody else. It happens in the DMs. We know that already. Young people go to DMs for, influencer marketing and stuff, but the same happens on LinkedIn, on Facebook. So people are very responsive to DMs. Now, as a young person, if you want to get into the field of social media, my best advice is to pick the people that you want to emulate. So say you're a young female, find a female LinkedIn expert, a TikTok expert, go study them. This is your time to research. Pretend you're in school, go study those people, reach out to them after you've engaged with their content for a couple of weeks. So like their content, share their content, comment on their content, say you're going to use it, show that you're understanding what they're doing, study their techniques, and then send them in DM on the platform that they're most, that they're most active on, and say, hey, I've been following you for a while. I'm a young person. If you ever see an opportunity for an internship, or if you ever, have an opportunity for me to listen to a specific podcast, this is what I'm trying to do. Most of us in the industry are willing to put our hand down and pull somebody up. I've done that many times. I've had interns, I've mentored people, but we don't want to do that to somebody who's lazy. So here's another example that happens. People will come to me all the time. They want a meeting with me and they want to pick my brain. Now, I don't like that at all. So I'll say, hey, go listen to a couple of my podcasts. And then I give them an assignment. 95% of people who come to me and ask for my time don't fulfill that part. So I never end up having to meet with them because they don't follow through. So if you're watching this or listening to this, if you want to be noticed by somebody in the field of social and you want to break into social, do the work, do the research, and then, read the book of the person that you want to be introduced to. And people are really willing to help out. So the networking is there. There's a lot of community. People will talk in groups. I'm in WhatsApp groups. I'm in LinkedIn groups. I'm in, all kinds of places. Usually when I'm tagged for something, hey, we need a quote for this and that. It's not email. It's private messages in different places. So just beware, be on the lookout for that. And that's really how networking. And then on LinkedIn, build your network by, make a list, 5 to 10 people a week. Or if you're really brave, 20 people a week, reach out to them, connect with them, like their content, comment on their content, and build it and do it, steadily. Instead of saying, oh my gosh, I want a job in 1 week, I'm going to, follow 100 people. That doesn't work, right? You got to build it up. So work on this now. I always tell people in college, go work on your LinkedIn now. Actually, before you go to college, in high school, as you graduate, get these references from your high school teachers. They can write a recommendation on LinkedIn for you. Start building that. That holds a lot of clout later on. So work on that LinkedIn profile. See that as an online resume that you can use all the way as you start your career.
Interesting. I really like that. Of like a lot of the work, you can't just message someone and be like, hey, let's meet. It's like building that over like a few weeks and then actually asking for time. I feel like that's like super valuable advice for people that are wanting to break into social media and connect with like thought leaders in the space.
Yeah.
I'm also curious on other like some job search strategies. Does it all come back down to networking, or are there some other specific strategies that you would advise someone to take if they are trying to get a role in social media?
From what I'm seeing, the people in my network that are older, my age, are having a really hard time finding jobs in marketing right now. It's a tough world out there. Even though they have the experience, they might not have the enthusiasm. Maybe there's some ageism, pushed in there. So stand out from the crowd. It is at this point, it's whom you know, not what you know. That's your first foot in the door. And then, so if you have outstanding personal brand and you know somebody in a company who could say, well, look at this person, you now have 2 pluses, right? You stand out because you're different, and somebody has tagged the HR person and said, this is somebody to look at. I've gotten most of my clients come to me through referrals, right? So do the things you say you're going to do. Follow through on the work that you say you're going to do. Build your reputation as a young person. Arrive on time if you're asked for an interview. All of those things help, but really reach out to people. I've had random people come to me. Can I be your intern? I finally did hire an intern, but
interesting.
So the person who hired me said that she'd followed me for a couple of months. She was recommended by XYZ. She said she would work for free for a month. She just wanted to learn from me, and she ended up working with me for 3 years, paid her all of that. But sometimes it's the right time. You never know when somebody does that, but there are people who need help, you might need a VA, they might need a video editor, they might need a content writer, but provide value. Don't say, I do this. Say, what do you need? Right? Ask that person, what do you need? Can I help you with something?
That's really cool.
That's always valuable. Instead of saying, I need 30 minutes of your time. That doesn't usually land very well with somebody who's a really busy business owner.
I love that. I really like the work for free aspect. There's some gigs that I've gotten like freelancing myself that basically I worked for free for like 3 months, and they ended up being like great clients, and the ROI was like incredible. I really like that. I want to ask as well, another avenue to social media, I imagine, is freelancing in itself. Especially as a younger person, maybe you can land a gig or not or whatnot. Can you talk about landing like your first freelance client as someone that's in social media? Is there any tips that you would give?
Yes. So I called myself a freelancer until like 2 or 3 years ago. And remember, Dutch is my first language. English is my second language. And so I thought freelancer was a positive thing. So I used that for 10 years. And then somebody said, well, freelancers, what are those? And I'm like, I'm a freelancer. No, you're a business owner. So it's definitely a shift in how you talk. But if you're thinking about doing a freelance gig, you heard it from Dorien, you are a business owner. So when you talk to somebody, you don't interview for a job. That's the biggest mistake that I see, that people are going to be hired as freelancers, but they're going to the meetup, to the Zoom meeting, because most of these are virtual at this point, as a employee. No. You're doing B2B, you're business to business, your business, their business. So that mindset has to be in you. Otherwise, you're going to be taken advantage of. You're going to be paid by the hour. You're not by the job. You want to be paid by the job, guys, because the faster you get, the more money you can make if you're paid by the job. If you're paid by the hour, and instead of something taking 3 hours, and now it takes you an hour and a half, you're only going to make half the money, but you're twice as fast. So think about that. Don't charge by the hour, charge by the job. And you're a business owner. As a freelancer, guys, you have to pay taxes. So you have to charge more than you think you would need per hour. Don't charge $15 an hour or 20 if you have to pay taxes on it, and you still have to pay for your own health insurance and everything else, right? So start at 30 or 35. You also will signal to somebody who's ready to hire that you're serious about this and that you're worth that money. But the biggest thing I can tell you is, if you're a freelancer, you are a business owner. Register an LLC or, whichever one you want, talk to a lawyer or look it up online. There's different ones you can be, but register yourself as a business, put your business hat on and talk to the business owner as a business owner. Would you ever go to a plumber and say, yeah, plumber, come over here. I have this and this problem. And the plumber goes, I will do whatever you want me to fix. I'll fix your oven. No, the plumber's going to go fix your pipes and they know what to do. You just say, I have a broken pipe, fix it. That's what you do. So somebody comes to you as a freelancer, says, I need a piece of content written. And you said, okay, I'll take it from there. That's how you need to conduct that business. And if you're uncomfortable with that, find a mentor who helps you with that. One of the other tips I can give you is get in a mastermind. Find other young freelancers who might be a couple months ahead of you.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for masterminds. You can do one on your own and just get together once a month or every other week with a group of people who have the same goals as you, who want to grow as a freelancer. Do it on the side. You can exchange ideas, help each other, support each other. When I was a social media manager at a freelance, I had a mastermind of 3 other female freelancers. And the 4 of us, when we started, I made the most money. By the end, they all made more money than me because we were all exchanging ideas, right? But we got very brave talking to each other. We were honest about money, about pricing, about packages, and we helped each other. And now I'm in a different kind of mastermind with more seasoned marketers, and we talk about different things. But the power of a team, if you're working as a freelancer, is huge. So find your tribe, find a place where you can go with your questions of people who are going through the same stuff. Don't reinvent the wheel. So find some other people that are like you and want to move the needle like you. And that can pay off huge dividends.
Yeah. And I really like that aspect too, because I feel like if you find like a community of other people that are freelancers, and even if they're not in like the same exact vertical as you, like let's say you do paid media and you get with someone that's like social media, you can oftentimes like refer each other to clients that you have.
Yes.
I feel like that's actually one of the most beneficial things of finding a community as a freelancer as well.
Yeah. And, who wouldn't want to refer somebody to somebody they meet with every week and who they trust and know and like because they know all the secrets about their business, right?
Exactly.
There's a lot of trust that goes in there. So, of course, I refer them to you. Yeah. And I can tell you that's funny that you brought that up. As an organic specialist, my best referral sources are people who run Facebook ad agencies, of course, because what I do complements what they do.
Exactly.
And vice versa. So my clients, once they got established with organic, they might need a Facebook ad specialist. So I refer back to them. So that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely.
Yeah. I feel like it's honestly like a mindset shift as well of like, it's not a negative sum game. It's all like a positive sum game. Like the total addressable market here is like ginormous. So like, you're not going to get the whole total addressable market. So if you like kind of slice it up, you can definitely help each other out like in a whole lot of different ways. But last question for you. This has been awesome. Just like, what is one piece of advice you'd wish someone would given you earlier when you got started in social media?
I think I already shared that. Definitely pay price. Your pricing should be based on your knowledge, not on your hourly rate. That's really one thing. I think that's really a big one. And don't be afraid to hang out your shingle. I guess as a freelancer, it's a very different world now than when I started 13 years ago. A lot of people are doing it, but be smart and learn new skills. Just over Christmas this year, I learned some more in-depth video editing. I, of course, mess with iMovie and all of that. But now that we have AI, I needed to upskill. So I'm now editing all my podcast episodes, all my live shows with AI assisted video editing tools. And it's so much faster and quicker, but I had to learn that. Now I'm 54, guys. If I can learn it, you guys can learn it. Learn new skills constantly, right? Be curious and learn the next thing. Oh, here's what I want to leave you with. AI is never going to take your job. But you know who's going to take your job? People who use AI. So if you're not willing to use AI, you're going to lose that job or that job opportunity. So be the marketer, be the social media person who uses AI for good, right? We still need humans. We need data and data analytics. AI can bring you all the data, but you need a human to actually analyze it and actually say, this makes sense. The same with graphics, the same with a strategy. You can do a lot of stuff and automate things, but you still need a human being to be there. So embrace the AI, learn the new tools, never stop being curious. Never. I mean, I hope to be curious till I'm dead. So keep doing that or learn new skills. That's really how you move along in social media.
You are the best. Thank you so much for being here. And if people are curious to learn more about you, where can they find you? Please plug your podcast, your website, all that good stuff.
All right. So the best place to find me is LinkedIn. You'll see Dorien Morin-van, orange glasses. That's me. I do have a website. My company's called Morin Media, and my podcast is called Strategy Talks. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. It's basically on all the Apple podcasts, on all the platforms. So find it there and let me know. Send me a DM and tell me you listened to this episode. And I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn. If you ever need anything or you see that I'm connected to somebody on LinkedIn you want an intro to, just say, I saw you on Ryan's podcast. I would like an intro to XYZ, and I'll make it happen. Happy to do that.
You are the best. Thank you so much for being here today. Awesome insights on social media, all good things. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.